All right, I would like to say hello to everybody. Peace, power, prosperity, and most of all, love to you and your families. So, we've got a couple of good announcements, some earth-shattering announcements, and not so earth-shattering, but I'm officially a vegetarian. And I'll speak about why that is in a minute. But as I always start off with positive energy, I always like to then go back to at least one criticism that I've had since the last video. Sometimes it's about the presentation that I'm making. Sometimes it's about the way I'm sitting, the way I'm talking. So again, it's a lot of criticisms of the messenger, and sometimes you do have to criticize the messenger. But you better understand the message first before you can start criticizing the messenger. So this one came and said, why, I think you're full of shit and you're not happy. And I thought to myself, I'm like, well, first of all, I'm pretty happy with myself. But who would know that other than me? Number two, I'm living my dreams. Number three, finances are not an issue, at least not right now. Number four, I live in a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom house in the country. That's quiet and peaceful. Number five, my work is not work. I actually go and help people heal. Number six, I'm living my dreams. So when I hear statements like that, I don't react emotionally. Again, to react emotionally to that sort of bait, that's basically how you burn yourself out. You get into adrenal exhaustion and you live on a state of adrenaline, which is what a lot of people do. A lot of people are living on adrenaline. Aggression, flight, or fight hormones. And adrenaline is at the top of the list. And if you live on adrenaline, and that hormone is at high levels, and usually corticosteroids go right along with that cortisol, you're going to burn yourself out, you're going to go into adrenal exhaustion, and eventually you will make yourself sick. No matter what you eat. It starts here and here. So, when someone says, I'm not happy, I got to immediately, not attack them, but I immediately have to think, boy, for someone to say that, it's either trying to tear me down, put me down, destroy my dreams, and cause me self-doubt, which of course I will never do. I'm fully committed to the path that I'm on. And if I have to change course a little bit and make adjustments like most of us do, I will, as necessary. But it's just very interesting that you must consider that someone making that statement is themselves not happy. Because even when I'm dealing with the most unhappy people in the world doing an acute emergency psychiatric practice, I see some of the most destructive, unhappy people that you can meet. I'm not talking about mild depression, I'm talking about majorly depressed. And I never say to them, you're unhappy. Now, they may tell me they're unhappy, but I never say, hey, you're unhappy. I never accuse them of anything. Right? My goal is to establish a rapport, use medications if necessary, always talk about diet, always educate, and always tell them, hey, it's your responsibility to make yourself well, not the doctor's responsibility, not the hospital's responsibility, your responsibility. So, when you're pointing the finger, accusing someone of being unhappy, there's something wrong with that person. So, I say to you, naysayers, keep it to yourself. It does you no good to start to try and point out weaknesses in an individual, to try and rip somebody down. I'm immune to it anyway. I mean, this is what I do for a living. So I just sit back and I listen to this thing. I'm unhappy. And the conclusion of my unhappiness was to be that, therefore, everything I'm doing on YouTube, all the information that I'm giving out, therefore, all the treatment that I'm giving to my patients, therefore, all the positive feedback, therefore, all the information, therefore, all the research, which cannot be refuted, regardless of what your emotional state is, happy or unhappy, is therefore invalidated. I mean, where do we get thinking like this? It's beyond me. Okay, this is regressed, immature thinking. Anyway, let's get on to the topic of today. First, a quick review. Please understand the 12 elements of health. I'm not going to go through them again today. Number 2, please understand the things that you cannot put in your body, absolutely cannot put in your body. That is vegetable oils. I don't care how organic they are. I don't care how well prepared they are. I don't care if it's olive oil. I don't care what kind of oil. You really, really need to reconsider most of the oils. Not natural, not found in nature. Please be careful. 911, Danger Will Robinson, vegetable oils are dangerous. But then again, it's not about beliefs. You see, because beliefs would have had us believe that margarine was good for us 20, 30 years ago. Beliefs would have had us believe that cholesterol was the culprit 20, 30 years ago. Beliefs would have had us believe that we needed to eat a high protein diet, aka the Atkins diet, which gets you killed and causes cancer. Belief would have had us believing that olive oil is heart healthy. Belief would have had us believe that wheat grains, processed wheat grains, white flour is healthy. So it's not about belief, and it's not about what my emotional state is, whether I'm happy or unhealthy. But I don't think unhappy people get on YouTube and try to educate the people that are their students, that try to educate the people that are their patients, that try to educate their own family members, to try to educate their own friends, to make sure that they don't get taken advantage of, to make sure that they can maintain a healthy lifestyle and a healthy outlook on life. Unhappy people don't do that. So they actually do the opposite. And so I don't accuse anybody. I don't care if people are happy or unhappy. I don't care if people are satisfied or dissatisfied with me. It's really not my concern. Okay? But we cannot say that the information that is being disseminated on the videos is therefore, even if I was unhappy, is therefore invalid, because all the information can be researched. I mean, there are entire books on the value of sunlight in healing. Entire books that refute that sunlight actually causes cancer when it does not. We know that sunscreen, that filtered light, imbalance between UVA and UVB sunlight causes cancer. We know that toxins within the body coming out through the skin causes cancer. We know that hair dyes, makeups, all kinds of lotions, which if you read your average lotion, you know, the so-called healthy ones that have a few little healthy ingredients in there, oil-based and also chemical-based, can never do you any good. So this is a fact now. You go read the research. You can go to PubMed, which is a conglomeration, a website of conglomeration now of research on a particular subject, and you can read original research studies. This is not coming out of the top of my head. This is not coming out of some philosophical bit that I have. This is coming from hard research, scientific research, over many years, at least 35 years, actually more than that, because I started my research when I was an undergrad. So, regardless of what my emotional state is, it has nothing to do with facts. Because, as the saying goes, facts is facts, man. End of discussion. So, let's move on to why I have now completely gotten animal protein out of my diet and become 100% vegetarian. And it's just the inevitable conclusion of where I've been going. I've been talking up increasing raw foods in the diet. I've been talking down dairy. We don't do dairy at all. I mean, listen, if I get a piece of toast that, by the way, is not white bread, but is another grain that's sprouted. What did I get? Amaranth, and I can't remember the other bread I got. But this is sprouted bread, and you don't eat a whole lot of it. So if you take a half a slice and put a little bit of butter, I mean, you're not going to trip out. Andreas Moritz actually used butter, on a daily basis in the morning. He actually believed that some animal fat had benefit, or at least wasn't harmful. I'm not sure I agree with that, but we are all in agreement that animal flesh of any kind, not red meat, not pork, not fish, not dairy, not poultry, not all of it should be thrown out. If we look at the research now that's been going on since the 90s on animal protein, and the fact that you can actually turn on tumors and turn off tumors with just having a animal fat of 5% in your protein, rather 5% in your diet versus 20%, and playing with that protein intake in mice, animals, and in retrospective human studies, you can actually turn tumors on and off with just protein. So I gotta really now give Dr. Robert Morse, who's done a lot of scientific research, I've got to give T. Colin Powell, who's a researcher par excellence at Cornell University. I've got to give John McDougall his dues. I've got to give all these vegetarians, but remember what I said, if you're going to go vegetarian, you cannot be looking to replace meat. There's no replacement for meat. It doesn't have to be replaced. You don't go eating a bunch of soy and soy-like products as meat replacement. That's how you get sick. You do still have to supplement. But, however, I don't believe in pure mineral and vitamin supplements unless you know for a fact that you are having a deficiency in a mineral. The minerals that we typically get deficient in that are really important for human function are iodine and iodide. So if you get Lugol's solution, get it on Amazon. You can get it from Patrick Timpone, OneRadioNetwork.net or .com. I can't remember which one, but go check out Patrick's website. You can get the nascent iodine that's iodized. Lugol solution has been around for many years, and you can put a drop or two on your skin and see how quickly it gets absorbed. That's not really a good test for whether or not you're iodine deficient, but most of us, because of the minerals in the soil, are. Zinc is another one that we tend to get deficient in, and selenium. Now, that said, and it's not calcium. That said, nobody's come to me with a clinical syndrome that was zinc deficient, selenium deficient, or iodine deficient, except in the case of thyroid disorder. But we do know that selenium has can fire glutathione, which is an antioxidant. We do know that zinc is part of that pathway, especially good for the prostate. Selenium good for the prostate gland as well. Good for the reproductive tract of women as well. Good for breast tissue in women as well. So, again, I'm not a big believer in going out and getting mineral supplementation. What I am is going out and getting herbs, fruits, and vegetables that are grown in mineral-rich soil, and they will absorb those minerals. They will organify those foodstuffs for you, and then when you add them into your diet, you're getting the minerals naturally as part of a complex the way nature intended. It never intended isolated minerals, but there's a place and a time when the situation becomes dire to use these things, and it's good to have a few tricks up your sleeve. But over and over and over and over again, meat eating increases the rate of cancer. Meat eating increases liver congestion. Meat eating increases prostate enlargement. Meat eating increases cancer, heart disease. I mean, the study after study after study of these animal proteins. Of course, I include dairy in the animal proteins, and I also include eggs in the animal proteins. But again, if you ate a couple of eggs a week, again, I wouldn't trip out. Now, for me, it's been a journey of experimenting. 100% raw for 90 days, vegan for 90 days, low protein with meat, low protein with some dairy. And this was all going, over the last 7 to 8 years. 2012, I got real serious about detoxification. I got real serious about going raw foods. And then I caught hell about that from my friends. Oh, you're putting us through hell. You're putting through hell with all this green drink. If my green drinks are putting you through hell, you got bigger problems than my green drinks, I gotta tell you. So, and there's also a thing called codependency where, if someone's trying to get healthy, I don't I don't go look at that person and say, you're putting me through hell. But I get that kind of feedback. You're putting me through hell. I'm getting healthy, but I'm putting you through hell. So, yeah, just study after study. Dr. McDougall, his studies from going back to the 90s, athletes who have gone vegan, responsibly gone vegetarian, increase their performance, increase lean body mass, and increase their endurance and their performance. So, there's this thing called the 80-10-10 diet. 80% of your calories should come from carbs, 10% from proteins, and 10% from fats. And I think that should be a guide for us. I would even say bring the proteins down to 5%. But, we do need amino acids. But again, if we look out in nature at some huge animals, the elephant does not eat meat. The gorilla does not eat meat. The horse does not eat meat. And it goes on and on and on and on. Mammals like us that are put together the way we're put together are not designed to eat meat. These are not claws for meat eating. These are not teeth for tearing into flesh. These are hands for picking fruits and vegetables. Now, hold on. I did not say I was going 100% raw food. I'm still going to keep my raw food about 75% of my diet. The other 25% I will play with responsibly, but they will be grains, the good grains. They will be potatoes, organic corn, if I can find it, quinoa, sprouted grains especially, a small amount of nuts and seeds, and again, beans, rice, of course the healthy rice, wild rice if you can. White rice is okay on occasion. Again, I'd rather have white rice than have a plate full of meat. And remember, with the standard American diet, we are building our meals around protein. It's ass backwards. So, anyway, I just made a decision that for me it's got to be all or nothing. I'm not one of these guys that can kind of, I've tried it. It doesn't work for me. It's either got to be all or nothing. I can't just have a little bit of meat and, because it just opens up the door to being addicted to the stuff, to being addicted to the death hormones, to be addicted to the adrenaline that's in the meat. There's no good quality meat, at least not available for the average human being anyway. And if we could afford good, clean quality meat, excuse me, lungs want to detox right now. I've been getting a lot of this mucus formation now that I've stopped eating all the meat, so it looks like my body is trying to go through a mild detox. But it's difficult to eat fish that are high up on the food chain because that's where you get more concentration of mercury, heavy metals. Now we find out that the oceans are replete and polluted with bromides and bromines. These are chemicals that were typically used in fire retardant, baby clothing, beds, and the list goes on and on of these fire retardants. The whole bromide based, and now the runoff into the ocean is causing pollution of the seaweeds. Now we have Fukushima causing pollution of the ocean. All right, and this is a real game changer. Fukushima, that people act like it's gone. It is not. It's still active. It's still producing radiation. That radiation, especially coming here to California, the whole western seaboard, is causing issues. I do a lot of fishing. Again, most of my fishing is catch and release, and it will all be catch and release unless somebody wants some fish. I don't have a problem with catching animals. I particularly would like to turn them back to the ocean so they can live. But I used to go surf fishing for surf perch. There are no more surf perch. Where did they go? They died off. Some people said it was the currents. It was the temperature of the water. No, because you can still go out into the water and catch fish. You just can't catch this particular fish that's very close to land where things are most polluted. So it's just sad. We now we talk about 75% of the antibiotics going into meat. We talk about farm-raised fish being extremely toxic, poor in quality, not fit for human consumption, and dairy not fit for human consumption. I just had to send my ex-wife, who's with my daughter right now. Shout out to Tazana, Buggy, Daddy's coming to see you this weekend. Love you. A lecture by who did the lecture? Dr. McDougall did the lecture on really the perils of dairy, and backed by research study after research, not a philosophical thing, not a hey, let's not harm the cows. Hey, probably why are human beings drinking the milk of another animal? Nothing to do with that. Science on top of science on top of science on top of science on top. Scientific research, my friend. Scientific research about casein, about lactose, about I don't know, man. There are a lot of different proteins in milk. About how milk is processed. All the hormones in milk, the chemicals in milk, the list goes on and on. I may include a link to his talk on dairy. But all of these guys that are heavily, and they're MDs. This is the beautiful thing about it. MDs are waking up. The MDs that are on the cutting edge of research, nutritional research, are coming up with the right answers. So kudos to my friends, the mad scientists, finally coming up with the correct answer. And not only do they come up with the correct answer, they become a living example of, we got my radio just turned on by itself. I'm not sure why it is. I'm going to finish up soon anyway. But it's just example after example after example after example after example of why we shouldn't have dairy. So, I used to think maybe if we use some dairy fat, that might curb the appetite, and that didn't work. you take the fat away from dairy, you have an even more dangerous chemical. You start adding high fructose corn syrup and making ice cream with it, it becomes even more dangerous. It is not meant for human consumption. Neither is animal protein at this stage in human development, and this stage of our consciousness, and this stage where people who are working in the slaughterhouses are coming down with cancer because of all the chemicals that are being used to process the meats. So we have humans dying because who are working in the slaughterhouses. We have inspectors who are inspecting the meat who are being told not to shut down the line if they find bacteria or viruses, etc. I mean, we're finding huge amounts of pus, bacteria, viruses, retroviruses, which then take over your own and start to co-command your own genes, your own genetic material, because they get into the DNA. We call it retroviruses, and they've been around forever. But the thing is, if you're not eating these animal products, then you don't have to worry about it. And I would say now that I've been off meat, what is this, day number 5, and I'm not going to be counting, man. This was going to be easy for me because, again, I've been working towards it, then finally just got to say enough is enough. Now what I'm going to have to do is learn how to cook differently. Do I believe in cooked foods? I absolutely do. Of course, you cannot eat beans without cooking them. Nuts, of course, you don't need to cook them. Rice, you need to cook. All the grains you need to cook. You just eat, So, will I have some cooked food? Yes. Might I one day become 100% raw foodist? Who knows? I don't know. But right now, I know that I'm not going to eat meat. I know that my body's already got all the nutrition, all the amino acids, all the proteins, all the minerals that it needs, because I'm functioning well. And there's even research to say that animal proteins, and this is whey protein and all the rest of the crap that comes from the animals. I mean, people, whey protein, again, is not healthy either. We don't need the extra protein. Take it down. Remember 80, 10, 10? Take it down to maybe 80, 15, 5. Okay? But when I talk about, these are macronutrients. Obviously, carbohydrates, I'm not talking about refined carbohydrates. I'm not talking about white sugar. I'm not talking about, all these processed carbohydrates. Yes, they can be packaged under the name carbohydrates. What we're talking about is fruits and vegetables. Those are the carbohydrates that I'm referring to. Be careful when you're using oil in your salad dressing. If you do use some oil, you better use a little bit of it. A little bit of olive oil, a little bit of whatever oil you're using to concoct the salad dressing. And do look at Dan McDonald's work on making a healthy salad dressing. Now, he does use some oils, but he does have some recipes that don't use oil. I highly suggest we adapt those recipes that do not use olive oils or any type of oils whatsoever. Now, there's some oils better than others, yes, but again, the result is the same. Increase in cardiovascular issues, sluggishness. It is a toxin for the body, cardiovascular disease, and likely cancer is associated also with these vegetable oils. Again, not a belief, but researchable. Go do a Google search. Go do a PubMed search. Go look up these scientists, T. Colin Powell, Maduko. Go look up all these doctors, Massey. There's a ton of doctors, man, on top of this stuff right now that really makes me proud that they're really now finally putting the information together scientifically and saying, no, human beings are not meant to eat meat. Now, Dr. Morse has been saying this for over 30-something years, and I have to agree with him. We were not designed to eat meat. Our digestive systems are not designed to eat meat. Eating a little bit of meat is not good. Take it all the way out of your diet. I guarantee you will feel better. So now you can follow me through my journey of 100% vegetarianism and see where it leads me. And I'm pretty sure that it's going to lead me to much better health. Okay. Now, was I eating a whole bunch of meat before I went vegetarian and declared myself 100% vegetarian? No, I wasn't. When I did eat meat, fish or poultry, it was always organic and the highest quality I could afford, which means very expensive. So I'm going to save money. I'm going to learn how to get more vegetables, different color vegetables, Make it exciting, make it fun. This is not like I have to stop something. No, I have to get better at being a vegetarian, okay? At not consuming the animal flesh. That's not going to be difficult. Keeping things interesting and fun, that will be more difficult. Learning how to make these things properly, learning how to soak a bean overnight and get it sprouted before I eat it, that's going to be interesting. Learning how to add variety, much more variety, a variety of fruits, a variety of vegetables, a variety of colors, that's going to be fun and interesting. Learning what starches I can and cannot have, that's going to be interesting. Really experiencing what grains are good and what grains are not. And again, I've already talked about processed wheat as being one of the worst offenders of all. And the wheat is usually never found by itself. It's usually got oils in it. It's usually got some sort of milk product added to it. It's usually got all kinds of crap added to it. Artificial flavorings, artificial colorings, and the list goes on and on and on and on. So, with that, I'm going to sign off. Things are getting a little bit noisy in the kitchen. But that's the official announcement. Remember to stay positive. Do not let the detractors pull you down. Stay calm. Stay at an equilibrium. Remember, those of you who are watching these videos are really of those of you who have consciousness of a higher level. You're cut from a whole different cloth. You're going to be the leaders. You're going to be the healers of the future and the healers of now. I'm going to be the healer of now, already doing it. And but you know, the saying, "Physician, heal thyself." So I think within the next 3 to 4 years, 5 years certainly, nutrition is going to be the top biomedical field in the country, and we will then go back to the original thesis of let medicine be your food and food be your medicine, and we are going to single-handedly continue to join hands in a food revolution that does not include the killing of animals and the ingestion of extremely harmful animal proteins and even the animal fats. But it's the proteins that really are a major problem, especially the older you get. But we're seeing a lot of diseases in young people too. The quicker you can get to vegetarianism, the quicker you can get your kids on a hopefully as much of a vegetarian diet as possible, the healthier your family is going to be, the healthier you're going to be. But watch me, I'm going to tell you what my experience is like, and do a 90-day raw food detoxification diet a la Robert Morse, because you're going to see how healthy you get, and you're going to see how the body begins to clean itself out when you're not putting dirty crap into it. So it's just a natural progression. I mean, I don't think anybody's surprised that someone who's health conscious, who's spiritually minded, who loves animals, who loves the planet, understands the greenhouse effect of the slaughterhouses, understands how the animals are being treated, and then gets scientific data from his own colleagues, current research that is international and irrefutable. And those studies that have come out to refute these independent researchers are usually funded by the very industry that the science says is not good. The dairy industry is extremely powerful. The meat and beef lobby, extremely powerful. And where the money flows, the truth goes. But guess what? We're not buying the crap. We are staying true to ourselves. Regardless of whether you're going to still consume some meat or animal products, remember, your diet must consist of 75% raw foods anyway. The other 25% play with responsibly. I will not be playing with the next 25% responsibly from a vegetarian point of view. Again, 75% raw food anyway. So it's not going to be a huge difference to me. I doubt that I'm going to go through any of these chemical withdrawals that a lot of people may go through if they've been big eaters and all of a sudden they stop. You will go through some withdrawal symptoms. So I don't see myself doing that at all. Again, I wasn't consuming enough of it that it would make a difference. The other thing I want to tell you about too real quickly is, and I'm going to do a video on it, is being conscious of when you're full. You're being aware of the signals that your body gives you to say, I've had enough. Just because there's more food on your plate, if your satiety centers are saying, I'm full, you stop everything. You don't drink more water. You don't eat more food just because it's there. You don't have dessert just because it's coming for free at the restaurant. You stop. You're done. End of discussion. The food trip is over. Move on to another aspect of your life. So really pay attention to when you become satisfied. Be really conscious of that, because that really is a huge key. I don't care if you're vegetarian, meat eating, whatever kind of diet you decide, paleo, I don't care. Be very aware of the satiety centers in the brain, in the stomach, that tell you, I'm full, I've had enough. Okay? So, with that, I'm going to bid everybody a farewell. Peace, power, prosperity, and most of all, love to you and your families. Dr. Z is signing off. And remember, those of you who are pointing the fingers and being detractors, I don't know what to tell you. Those of you who want to assassinate the messenger, I don't know what to tell you. Go do the research. It doesn't matter if I'm happy. It doesn't matter if I'm unhappy. It doesn't matter if I'm a mass murderer. Facts is facts. See you later. Bye now.